Two Jack Bros! Two Jack Bros!
Welcome back to Two Jack Bros. And if it is your first time, thank you. Welcome. No. And if it is your first time, welcome to you too. And thank you for giving us a shot. I am Sidney. I am sitting next to Ansley.
Hello.
And today our guest is none other than the Emily Epstein White.
Hello.
What is up?
You know, just sitting in a room talking to you guys.
Yeah. Did I say your name wrong? Because I know it took me like 8 times to intro this show, and I know you probably wouldn't want to correct me to start over again.
I think you did it right this time.
Okay, good enough.
I think my name, you did a great job.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
It's about sticking the landing, the white.
White.
The white.
Good job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did great.
I know. Yeah.
Be careful what you say, because people can clip that and like, put it out anyway in this day and age.
It's like my first name and my second last name are easy. It's
Yeah.
Emily and White. Epstein is the hard one, just because it's Epstein or Epstein.
Yes.
And I feel like Jeffrey Epstein made that really easy for me, because I'm like, not like him. I'm not like him. We're not related, so don't say it that way.
I definitely said the bad one.
You said the bad one. So you did not do that.
Yeah,
great.
I didn't do it correct. But thank you for not pressing me about that and having me restart that intro again.
No
that was
problem.
tough to get through. By the way, you can check out Emily and her show on September 16th, right? At
Yes.
Midnight Oil Brewing.
Yes.
And where is that?
It's in Newark, Delaware.
Yes. It's going to be a good show. Emily's a very fun comedian to watch do stand-up comedy. Emily,
Yes.
do you know what we do on this podcast?
I know there's some questions asked, perhaps.
Yes, there are questions asked.
Yes.
Yeah. And you're clearly okay with questions.
They've been asked of me. I mean, I have small children, so I have questions asked of me
Okay.
like 3,000 times a day.
Yeah, we got 3 tired parents at night.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
It's gonna be a good time.
Yes. Party.
A good time. So, Emily, the basic premise of this podcast is to prove that you can have a dark sense of humor, really any sense of humor, and still reach enlightenment or a higher consciousness. And so what we do is we take our guest, who is you today, Emily Epstein White,
Yes.
through the process of enlightenment, so that our watchers and listeners, and then Ansley and me, can laugh our ways to a higher consciousness without doing exactly the hard work you're about to do.
That sounds beautiful.
Awesome. Awesome. So everybody gets the same questions on the podcast.
Right.
And Ansley,
Yes.
take it away.
Emily, what situation or event did you learn the most information from?
The most information from? Probably the first time that I did stand-up, because I had wanted to do it for so long. So I had all this anxiety and all these thoughts about what it was going to be like. And then I didn't think at all about what it was going to be like once I'd finished it, and those feelings, and what I do next. And so it was like I had been, to quote Kate Bush, I'd been running up that hill, and then I got to the top, and I was like, oh, what the fuck do I do now? So it was a really good experience, just doing something that I was really terrified of doing and experiencing it, and then trying to figure out next steps after that.
When did you start doing stand-up?
400 years ago, roughly.
Nice.
A long time ago. It's been,
Did you
it's
have
been,
kids when you started? Or?
I did not, none that I knew of, no.
Okay.
I did not have any, yeah.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah. What made you take that, what pushed you to take that step to try it?
I had wanted to do it for so long. And I was like, kept getting a little bit closer. In college, I wrote a humor column, and like, you know, I was a columnist, so your picture was in the column. And I would go to parties sometimes, and like strangers would come up and be like, "Oh, that was really funny." I was like, "Oh my God, you see me!" So
what
that
was the
exciting.
demographic of the people coming up to you to tell you how funny you were in the humor column at college?
Dudes at the parties.
Okay.
I mean, there might have been other, motives, but I mean, hey, I'll take it.
Yeah, fair enough.
And then
I'm just curious, because it's like, when I think of the people that
read a newspaper.
read the school newspaper at their college, right? Because in the beginning, everybody kind of does it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody, oh, this is exciting. We have a school. Let's see what's going on. But then, like, later on, it kind of dwindles, and then people like Ansley don't look at it anymore.
I stopped looking at the.
Yeah.
Here's the
paper.
thing, Cindy. I'm really funny. So people just like read a sentence and they were hooked.
You gotta see this.
Yeah, I think it was like I would just tell ridiculous stories.
Okay.
So maybe that, but it happened enough that it was people that not people that I knew and not friends of friends. So that was really nice, and I was like, okay, maybe there's something to this.
Yeah.
And
then
then
like, it wasn't just the Dungeons and Dragons club.
although that's where I did my first readings. No. And then when I moved to New York after I graduated from college, I was thinking about it, but kind of scared. And then I wanted to do something with words and writing. And so I ended up taking this advertising class. And the teacher was so wacky. And he told us the story. He's like, listen, he's like, if you get anything from this class, it doesn't have to be a love of advertising. He's like, but I realized when I figured out how much I loved to do this for a living. He's like, I was homeless and I was on this bench and it just hit me and I was like, this is what I have to do with my life. And I was like, I could have sworn he said he was living at his mother's house, but whatever. Yeah. What I got from it was you need to do, once you figure out what you want to do, like what you love, you got to do it because not everybody gets to figure that out. And I was like, you're right. And then I did it.
Now, when you did stand up for the first time, were you expecting that to be a thing you loved?
I didn't even, it was not, I had wanted to do it for so long. Like there was nothing in my brain that said that I wasn't going to. Like there was no way I was going to be like, nah, not for me. Like I was like, all right.
Yeah.
And then I did it and I was like, okay, this is my life now.
Nice.
Thankfully I didn't try and, eat off of it regularly or I would be dead by now. But, I love it. So, you do it.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Okay. So, do you have any?
No.
Okay. So if you had to distill then in like a sentence or two exactly what it was that you took from that experience, like the information that you learned, like how would you present that?
What I took from it was that the thing that is scariest to you, if you really think about it and think it through, is probably not that scary and that it's worth doing.
Okay. That was a good lead-in for our next question.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So, Ansley, first of all, thank you for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, Ansley, take it away.
All right. So, Emily, the first chakra.
Oh, yeah. So, from this point on, I'm sorry, we are opening up chakras.
All right, open them up.
Okay?
Let's
all
go.
Right. We have to say that.
Yes.
They have to know that.
You had to give my chakras
Consent.
permission.
Yes.
Yeah.
For sure, especially for the first chakra. The
Got
first chakra is located right around the butthole. Are you okay with that?
In the butthole? It just
I didn't
clenched.
say in. I didn't say in. You're the one that took us in the butthole, Emily.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to do some Kegels right now just to...
All right, let's see if we can open that newly tightened butthole of Emily's.
So, Emily, how did you learn to overcome fear?
By doing. I try to be the person that when something scares me to just run through. I mean, within reason. But
Yeah.
like I'm not as adventurous as I used to be because like old age and decrepit body and children, but like I like to be that person that's open. I want to be I hate improv, but I'm a yes person, you know what I mean? Like I want to, so like, when I was with a friend and they're like, you want to go, bungee jumping. Okay, off a bridge. Yeah, let's fucking go. Let's go. Let's do it.
You've bungee jumped?
I have.
On multiple occasions?
Once was enough.
That is enough.
Yeah. Off a bridge?
Yeah, it was in New Zealand, and it was off this bridge, and I was like, yeah, let's, and we had been wine tasting before, so I was like, my butthole was very open.
Wait, what? She asked me if I wanted to bungee jump, but we had been wine tasting before. Like,
Yeah.
what? That's not.
Yeah.
Okay.
What I'm saying is I was loose.
Yeah, okay. Gotcha.
And it's not like all you need to do, you don't have to be in good shape, you just have to fall.
Yeah.
I could do that drunk or sober, so,
Yeah.
And then I'm up there and I'm looking down and I'm like, oh, this might have been a mistake. And my friend went first. And so I was like, well, now I guess I have to do it. And so I did it. And I didn't think through the fact that you are on a rubber band. So it's not just about going.
Yeah.
You bounce at the bottom.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that. I watched multiple people do it, and yet still, that was a real surprise for me. And then my clothes tried to come off because I was wearing a big sweater. It was so fun. But it was terrifying. And I think it was because I didn't think it through, actually, that it wasn't as terrifying as it could have been. But it was that is not a thing I ever need to do again. But I did it, so that's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm already sensing a pattern that you don't think things through.
Yes. I do now, but when I was younger, I was more like as long as it's not too stupid, I'll try it.
Like bungee jumping while drunk in loose-fitting clothes.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, I wasn't just doing it by myself. There was a whole thing set up. Like
Well,
I had.
Emily,
I wasn't like,
your
I have a
friend
rubber
jumps
band.
off of a bridge, are you going to just jump off
Absolutely.
the bridge?
Yep. The answer is yes. Yes, I will.
Yeah. So, all right. So, can you remember a time in your life when you were the most scared? It could be any time from childhood up to now.
What was I? That's a good question. What have I been the most scared about? I mean, I've definitely been in situations before that were not safe, that were not of my doing, where I have been very scared and I've been okay in the end. But there have been a couple. I don't know if I necessarily want to tell that story, but there have been, I'm trying to think where I was the most scared and I was okay. That's the question? I mean, you
don't necessarily have to be okay in the end. But you're here, so we would suggest that you're okay now.
Yeah, I'm here.
Right?
And my whole body's here too, but I'm below the table. I have legs and all my toes. I mean, I've definitely been, when I was traveling, I've been in a couple situations that were kind of terrifying, and I survived, and that was good.
Like bungee jumping?
Like bungee jumping, yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, at the end, I'm okay, and that's a good thing, right?
That's a good thing. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was so vague, and I'm so sorry. I was like a thing and a stuff, and then hi.
I know, but now people are gonna try to like sneakily get that one thing out of you that you like you didn't want to share, but you brought up. I'm like, when you did that, I was like, oh, I wish she didn't even say that much. I wish she did. I mean, this again, like you'll notice it. People will be trying to sneakily get a thing out of you, and that's gonna be the thing.
Yeah. It back to the stand-up. It's just funny, like. You know, part of doing stand-up is just sharing things with strangers that you know. And it's funny because when you're around the same people, you start to get to know them from hearing their sets. And it's funny because you might not have ever had a conversation with someone, but like you'll know they were molested when they were 4.
Yeah.
And you're just like, I have all this content. Like I know so much about you, but also not what you like to eat or what you do during the day or anything. But no, it's a strange reality.
Yeah.
It is pretty strange. I can give you a list of 5 people who were molested. The molestation list.
Yeah.
It's all right. So we'll consider that a fear chakra unlocked.
Yes. Okay.
Right. And then
My butthole's definitely clenched, though. It should be open, right?
It should be open, but there was a thing that you didn't want to share.
Yeah.
And let me ask you this question: is there something close? Is there an event similar to that is like? Is there a fear event comparable that you're willing to talk through?
Something that I was afraid of, and it happened, and then I was okay. Is that the actual?
No, it's just like a time when you were the most scared. It's just like.
This is all right.
Yeah.
I was very scared when I was giving birth to my first child because I had no idea what to expect, and because no one can explain it to you, and then it's different for everybody, right?
Yeah.
And if you try and explain what it's like to someone, it doesn't make it more clear.
Yeah.
And so it was like I'd been building up to this event for the whole pregnancy. I mean, it is the big finish, right? And I had no idea how it was going to be, no idea how I was going to handle it. And it was pretty bad. Do not recommend. It's funny, like, you go through this whole thing, like, if you have a birthing plan. And I was in Berkeley, so it was all very, like, hippy-dippy. And, like, I had do you want a natural birth with no drugs and all this? And so they have you do this exercise where you put all the factors down and, like, then you take something away. Like, this is your perfect plan. This is the playlist you want, the people you want, and how many hours it to take, and how many contractions you want to have, and all that crap that you can't plan. All right, what if I take this? What if your mother can't be there? What if you have to have a C-section? All of this stuff. And you're like, oh, I'm fine. And it's like figuring out that you can't really prepare for this, and you need to be okay.
Yeah.
And so, like, I had decided that I wanted to have a natural birth with no drugs, which is dumb because I love drugs. It was horrible. Like, I could not get comfortable. The contractions were really bad. I was in labor for 15 hours. And then, like, they had to induce. And then I started blacking out. And the baby's heartbeats, they couldn't hear it. And then I had to have an emergency C-section. And it was incredibly scary. But we survived. And the baby was fine. And I was fine. And the important part at the end was not how it happened, just that everybody's okay.
Awesome. That is... Did you go through this process in Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania by any chance?
No, I went through the first process in Berkeley, and the second one I was at Lankenau. That was a planned C-section. I was like, drugs? Yeah, actually, my husband was like, listen, not to make this about me, but if we have another baby, I need you to have a planned C-section because I can't go through that again. And I was like, yeah, no, you can't go through that. But yes, let's make sure you're as comfortable as possible. But it was great.
Yeah, we had a very similar experience.
Very similar.
with our son. We were going to a birthing center.
Yeah.
And she had to get induced, emergency C-section. We ended up going to Lankenau for our emergency C-section.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was good. Good experience.
Quite a process.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I could do that again. Yeah, I don't know what your husband's talking about. I could totally do that again.
Oh God, he was like it was so funny, like how you talk about it. He's like, I'll be there, when you're in labor. Like if you're in labor for like 35 hours, I'll be there for 34 and a half of those hours. And then like when the stuff, I'm just gonna step out because they say it's not. And then cut to him like standing there while the C-section's happening, crying. My organs are being. He's just like, okay, yeah, no, that wasn't.
Yeah, well, so the messed up part about that is if it was like typically during a scheduled C-section, they don't allow the father in. But for emergency C-sections, for whatever reason,
no rules.
Like all the rules are out the window, and you don't know that if it's your first time. Like I didn't know that I wasn't supposed to be seeing what I was seeing.
Yeah,
it's something.
Oh yeah,
it's something.
They said it was funny too because they gave him the scrubs to change into, and he literally was like. And they're like, "How did you do that?" And he's like, "My wife is going to like." He was very upset, and he was like, "I can get changed quickly when I'm stressed out."
Yeah. So how does your butthole feel now?
Looser. Okay. When I think about that experience, the front part is tight, but the back is loose now.
Keep us updated.
Will do.
All right, Ace, keep it moving.
All right. So next is your pelvis chakra, the chakra located in your pelvis. So it's a little segment we like to call My Bad. So it's a chance for you, an opportunity for you to apologize to a person, place, or thing in order to set your karma back to neutral.
All right. We just got done doing Emily's Patreon episode. And I can't talk today. And boy, was it an amazing good time. Emily, did you have fun on the Patreon?
I did. That was very enlightening.
It was a good time.
Yeah.
And if you didn't know, on the Patreon, we enlighten our guest shadow self. So you get to see all of Emily's dark urges put to the forefront and in a pretty funny way. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And $1 gets you all of our exclusive content on our Patreon, which not only includes the counter to this podcast, which we call Two Jack Bros After Dark, where we enlighten our guest shadow self, but also the fight commentary and analysis that we do on Ansley's jiu-jitsu matches and other stuff that we put up there for your amusement. $1 gets you all of our content.
Just $1.
That's it. Listen to the woman. She knows.
So valuable. It's such a good way to spend your dollar.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Yeah.
4 quarters. A quarter a week.
Yeah.
That's it. And now we're going to get back to this episode and find out who or what Emily has to apologize to.
Okay. I think that I would probably apologize to everyone for the child that I was, because I was a real little shit when I was like 5 to 7.
What variety of little shit were you?
I just thought I was nothing stank. I just thought like I was spoiled, and I just thought I was amazing, and I learned very quickly that I was not, and that was very helpful. I had a babysitter who was this lovely British woman who would take no shit and helped to straighten me out. But yeah, I think I was a real like, and I just didn't realize how lucky I was. And then once you kind of start to realize that like you're not the center of the world, you're not that important, you're very lucky, it starts to even things out a little bit.
Okay. Are you... I'm just curious.
You had a British nanny?
Yeah, like, right?
We lived.
Was it the British nanny?
Yes, it was the only one. There's only one. When I was little, we lived
So we
in
got
England.
the British nanny.
When I was little, we lived in England. So then we found her, and then we brought her back. And so she was an au pair, actually, technically.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, she was great. We're very close still.
Okay.
Tough as nails, but like heart of gold.
Yes.
She was.
And she was like 21. Like, that's the crazy part. She was so young.
They're always 21.
But she had like 12 siblings and like real like rough child, like just, I mean, she was wonderful. She still is wonderful.
Now, and I don't mean to ask this for any context other than just to understand the type of spoiled that you could be, that you need to be apologizing for this much later. But was your family? Or did you come from a wealthy family?
I came from a middle class family.
Okay.
I think also there's the context now of having children of my own and being around people that are well off and realizing how shitty children can be.
Okay.
But they don't always start, like, kids aren't, you know what I mean? Like, not all kids are awful. You know what I mean? Like, some of them are good, and you let them cook, and then they're not so good, and that might have been what happened with me. But she straightened me out, so it was all good.
Nice. That's man. I don't even know what questions to ask about how shitty you were as a child. Like, I'm very confused.
I know, but I feel like it's a very specific, like 5 to 7.
Right?
Like, so like, what kind of mischief did you get into?
She's like our girls. Like
Yeah.
our girls' age.
Yeah.
Right?
You know what it is like when you're little and you're cute and you just like, and you bat your eyes, and I had my little British accent, and my dad actually said recently that he thought I held on to the accent longer, and I was like, I'm not that smart. Like, I don't think that occurred to me. Like, if I can stay British forever, everyone will love me. Like, that's not a thing.
Yeah, she never mentioned she had a British accent the whole time.
I know.
It's
It fell into place.
Okay.
Right.
All right, here's some context, right? So when I think I was 5.5, something like that, I was at the Franklin Institute with my dad. And they used to have this, like, flashlight symphony where they would have, like, a band playing and you would move the flashlights, and it was really cool. And I would talk to anybody, which hasn't changed. And so I'm standing here with my dad, and I start chatting with this gentleman who is a full-grown man next to me, just telling him my life story, all the things I want to do, my life story at 5. And it turned out that he was a reporter for the Philadelphia Inquirer. And he ended up writing the story about me as the most of the context for the article that he was writing about the event.
And it went straight to your head.
But it's like that sort of stuff where you're like, yeah, I'm amazing. Like, obviously I'm amazing. Like,
Your life is so charmed.
Yeah, and then, like,
Could you even read at that time?
I put on my monocle and I read it like a lady with my teeth. But yeah.
Yeah. All right. So apologize. Like, sorry, everybody that had to deal with Emily from 5 to 7. Where she had a little British accent and was feeling herself.
Yeah. I'm sorry I
Yeah.
was a tiny little privileged jerk, but I got better.
I mean, if you want to know how much of a bad bitch I am, read the paper. How about that?
Oh, good times.
All right, cool. Well, that's a pelvis chakra unlocked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good apology.
Yeah. Ace, keep it moving.
Okay. Now the next chakra is located in your gut.
Okay.
So how do you move past disappointment, either in yourself or in loved ones? Or others? You don't have to love them.
Yeah, can you really be disappointed in somebody who you don't love? Though?
Yeah.
You know
I know,
what I mean?
right?
You have to care to be disappointed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I try and think about the context and the intent of what happened. That helps me. When I think about not just an event where something or someone disappointed me, I try and think about, like, what was happening to them, where they were coming from, what their intention was, and that helps me to move through things.
Okay. Can you? Is there something that you could use to illustrate an example for us?
I feel like with my children, it's all like that's something that happens all the time, right? Where your kids will do something that isn't exactly what you would like them to do. And I think about the fact that, like, with my daughter, she's 6 and my son is 3.5, and she loves her brother, but he gets a lot of attention. And so she acts out in ways that she wants to get because she wants attention. And so she wants to be an adult and treated like an adult and talk to adults like she's an adult, but she also wants to be a baby because she gets that attention too. Mm-hmm. So when she does things that I'm disappointed in, I think about, like, I'm not mad at her. I think about, like, all the things that are going through her little 6-year-old brain and understand that, like, I might be disappointed about something, but it wasn't why it happened in the first place. If I can understand why something happened, I can move past it.
So if allow me to try to pretend to be smart for a second.
Okay.
So it sounds like what you do is I'm going to use the word compartmentalize. Okay.
That's fair.
I hope I'm going to use it right.
Let's see how you do.
So you basically compartmentalize the cognitive dissonance.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, you see what I just did there?
Yeah.
See what I just did there? And for anybody out there listening, you don't know
That's not
exactly
as smart
what
as
cognitive
you.
dissonance is. Mm-hmm. It's the difference between the way things are and the way you want things to be. Mm-hmm. Right? That's pretty much all it is. The difference between the way things are and the way you want things to be, and then how you handle that with your brain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean,
I'm tapped out. I'm tapped.
No, that was solid. Yeah. I think that's how we're all getting through the pandemic, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
Because nothing's perfect at the moment. It's always something.
Yeah, I mean, my life is pretty charmed.
You must be me from 5 to 7, but
nice.
Yes. But nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I get a little British accent every now and then. All right, so during this segment, I always like to ask this question, which is, growing up, did you ever have either a sports or performance arts situation where you were disappointed in yourself?
Yes, quite a few. I was a lacrosse goalie in high school, so that was fun. I'm a small, angry little person that likes to yell, so goalie was good for me. But it is a very hard position because you are the last line of defense, and if you don't block it, like, they shouldn't have been able to get to you in the first place, but also, like, you screwed up, so yeah. That yep.
Were there any big games? Is there like a moment, like a lacrosse moment that it's like, oh, that one?
I mean, there was one where someone hit me, like, the ball hit me in the chest so hard I was positive that one of my boobs went out my back, and I cursed so loud that I got carded by the ref for that. So that wasn't one of my better moments.
Yeah.
But one of the beautiful things
But
that happened...
you blocked the goal.
I did block it, I think. Yeah. God, it hurt so much. Just thinking about it, I just, like, feel like Phantom. Yeah. But I also learned when I was goalie that I needed glasses. I didn't know that. And then there were, like, all these times where I wouldn't see the ball till it was, like, here. And I was like, it's not that small a ball. Like, it's not a golf ball, so I should... So I got glasses. And then I learned that you don't wear glasses under a helmet because that does not work well. So I have a lot of learning. I got a lot of learning. Yeah. A lot of humble pie eating during that experience.
Yeah, and you did that all through high school?
Yes, I did.
You're a little goalie.
Yeah, I'm a little goalie.
Your goalies are big. Your goalies took up most of the cage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I had to wear pads and stuff, but no, I'm not a big person.
Yeah, but that's, I mean, I'm just saying goalie-wise.
Yeah.
Like, from the goalie, like, we had, Ansley's lacrosse team in college had a goalie that was, like...
She was like over 6. She was tall. She was 6 foot.
Big, broad.
Big difference, college, high school.
Fair point.
College, you're like, I could be good at this. I will see how far it goes. High school, you're like, I'm just trying to get through and make sure and learn how to play sports and maybe put it on my, that sort of thing. I mean, I like lacrosse, but it was hard.
Yeah.
And they make me do all the freaking sprints and stuff with all my gear on. And, like, none of the other lacrosse positions you need to wear anything. So I was very angry. That made me very angry, that experience. I'm not going to lie.
No, we were looking for disappointing experiences.
Both feelings were together. It was a sandwich. Anger and then disappointment was in the middle. That was the filling.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll call that a gut chakra unlocked.
Yes.
Little tiny little goalie.
Yep.
Oh, a tiny little angry
Yelling.
goalie screaming.
Yeah. What curse word did you use to get your penalty? Do you remember?
Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the good one.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the one that feels the best when you say it too. That K just.
Yeah.
So good.
You must have looked. You must have looked like somebody arranged goalie pads in the cage.
Oh, I look
Do you know
ridiculous.
what I mean?
You should have seen running was hilarious because most of the time the pads would flip to the back too. I was so graceful. Why didn't I play in college? Because nobody wanted me. But no, it was a good experience.
Okay. Disappointment chakra unlocked.
Yeah.
We'll go with that. Ace, keep it moving.
All right. We are to the heart chakra. So Emily, what have you learned from grief?
That's a hard one too. Well, I learned one of my best friends passed away my senior year of high school on Valentine's Day, which was not fun, from a brain aneurysm. And
So, sudden.
yeah, very
Wow.
sudden.
Wow.
Sorry to hear that.
It was very sudden and it was awful. And because she died on a holiday, you really think about it every year on Valentine's Day. And I remember getting to the point where it's like, oh, like she's been gone longer than she was here. And, you know, she never got to meet her niece and never got to have kids of her own. And she never got to meet my kids and all of that. And it really made me think about how much you have to appreciate everything. I mean, I saw her mom at another funeral for someone much older. It must have been 20 years later.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing I said to her was, I still think of your daughter a lot. And she was wonderful, and I'm sad that she's missed. But like, you got to tell people, you got to tell people stuff. You got to, you have to appreciate people and appreciate everything because you just never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cut and dry.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have any additional follow-up questions there.
No.
Right? Thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
Yeah. We can just keep moving.
Okay.
You're like, and
Yeah.
nope, that's done. That's good.
I mean, your answers are so succinct.
Yeah.
I tried. Yeah.
I'm going to stick with the words I know that
No,
I
that's you used it. That was listen. I'm a copy editor. You used that right.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, you did.
Man, have you been copy editing all my shit?
Yes, I have. I have notes for you
I
at
do
the end
not
of
want to
this.
know my score.
I've just been writing stuff on my phone.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'll take
Yep.
the notes, but please, no grade. Notes, no grade. All right, Ansley, let's keep it moving.
Yeah. So we are to the throat chakra.
Okay.
So Emily, what is a favorite lie that you have told or that you tell? You get extra karmic points if it's still in rotation.
I tell people that I'm 5'1". That's not true.
People believe that?
No, actually, it always starts a conversation. Or I'll tell people I don't do it as much at this point. I'm just kind of like, I'm only getting smaller. I might as well come to terms with it. But I'm 5 feet. And I used to tell people I was a little bit taller, but it doesn't matter because for me, when I would lie, I wouldn't be like I'm 5'7". I'd be like I'm 5'2", and they're like, "Oh, I thought you seemed so much taller." So it was like it didn't even matter because that was taller to me, but still short to them.
Now, are you just trying to stay out of midget status with your?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What is official midget status?
I feel like my grandmother was 4'10", so that you know what made me feel better about it. I met Dr. Ruth once, and I first was like, I appreciate you. And the second thing I asked her was, how tall were you at your tallest? And she was...
I mean, it's like, you get it, but like, it's almost like you can't ask women about their weight.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like, you can't ask old people how tall they used to
But
be.
I don't think, because she's so tiny, but I think because I couldn't be 6'5" and be like, how tall were you when you're
Yeah.
tall? Because that's messed up.
That is.
But like, I was like, from a small person to another small person, and she was like 4'11", I think, or 4'10", and she's like 4'7", like she's tiny now. But I was like, okay, that I'm taller, that makes me feel better that I'm not that small. I mean, I didn't say that part to her. I just thanked her for her work and time and existence.
Yeah.
So you met the Ruth Ginsburg.
No.
Or who was it?
Dr.
Ruth.
Very different Ruths.
Yeah.
Very different
Roots
Ruths.
mixed up.
Yes, I did.
One was a sex therapist and educator. The other was a Supreme Court justice.
You met the horny one.
I met the horny one, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the other one might have been horny. I don't know, but that wasn't something that's been noted in her work.
I think if you read between the lines, she's pretty horny.
That lace. Read between the lace. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. That's,
Such a funny, rude thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like that. How tall were you at your
tallest? Because you do.
Tallest.
Yeah.
That's something that like only another person in your height category knows exactly. It's like, all right, my sister.
Seriously, it is
Yeah.
so funny how like people talk about height. Like when you are short, it's like you feel like you let them down. Like, oh, I thought you were taller, and you're like, sorry, I'm sorry, I'm not. Like what? I didn't mean to. Like I didn't lie to you willingly. Like, but it is something. The way people talk about it is hilarious. That you're just like, I guess I failed you somehow.
Yeah. It's also funny to me too because at the height that you are, you can cook the books a little bit on your height and nobody's gonna check.
No.
Like nobody. But if you're like 5'11" and you're telling people you're 6 feet, people are like, I don't think so.
Yeah, that one's questioned.
Yeah, when if you look at it, it's a much smaller percentage of your height. It's like way less noticeable at that height than it is at your height. Yeah.
This is true.
For your height, it's like, sure, I guess I'm wrong about what 5'1" looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. With my hair like in a high ponytail and some heels, it could happen.
Nice. All right. I like that. I don't even think until you mentioned it now that I noticed you were a tiny person.
I like that you call me a tiny person. Like I feel like the camera could open like, oh, hi. Can I get a booster seat? Thank you.
You do have a big personality, though. I wasn't like when I saw you, I wasn't like, oh, she's tiny. Like,
I do.
And I'm like waiting for you to stand up.
Yeah, like,
I think I am standing up right now. And, but that's the thing. Like, I think your size. I mean, everybody has something, right? And for me, I think being small has always like made me feel like I need to be bigger. I mean, I think I am who at this point. I'm done cooking, so I am who I am, both in height and personality. But I definitely think that's something that has made me the way I am.
Yeah, I'm having like a weird fugitive moment where I'm like thinking back to all the times, like, oh my gosh, she was that height. Oh my gosh, she was that height. She's
you
never
see her
been
reaching
taller.
for something on a shelf. Like,
and like everybody around me is really tall. Like my daughter, who is 6, is 4'2" already. Like I thought she's gonna be like I joke about like I thought I had till 2nd grade, but I don't know. I think it might be first.
Yeah. It's
and how tall is your husband?
He's like just shy of 6. But like I have a little brother.
I don't know if I can believe you, Emily. You're not exactly trustworthy on height.
No, he's not. He's like 5'11".
Okay.
But I have like my little brother's 6'3".
Oh, okay. So
but my grandmother's 4'10". Like we have all sorts of stuff in my family, but I tend to be the smallest person in the immediate vicinity.
Okay.
Yeah. It's funny that like I assumed you had a tiny family. But to be like
no,
the
we're
small
not all
person,
hobbits.
like,
We're normal sized people. Yep.
Yeah. Well, some of you. Some of you. Look at you. You're cooking the books all over the place.
Yeah. My mom is taller than average, but my dad is like average. Like I think my dad is 5'9", but my mom's like 5'5" or 5'6". So but my brother is gigantic, and there are very tall people in my family. And
just so we're clear about this, no matter how tall the rest of the people in your family are, you're not allowed to grade your height on a curve.
Fine. And the thing is too, like I used to wear heels most of the time, but since the pandemic, I'm like, ugh, who cares? Like I don't stand up that much, like in general. So the idea of putting shoes on is a whole other thing.
Yeah. Says the stand-up comic.
I know.
Yeah. All right. So definitely a throat chakra unlocked. Thank you for finally coming out about your height.
It was. It's been inside me hiding for.
Not
Yeah.
gonna lie, I still feel the same way about you.
Good.
Yeah.
Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Yeah,
Good. Okay. Good.
Yeah. Finding out that you were shorter didn't make me look down on you.
Okay. I'm taking a note.
Okay. Ace, let's keep it moving.
All right. We are now to the third eye chakra, so we're out of the physical into the metaphysical. Yep.
Got it.
So what is something that you've always thought of as separate, but as you've gotten older, you've learned that it's really the same?
That's really hard. something that was always separate, that I thought was separate, but that's really the same. I mean, I always kind of felt like happiness and success were separate, but now I think they might be more interlocked than I realized before.
Okay, so how, when you thought they were separate, like how why? What?
You know, it's like you think about the fight, like how about married couples fighting, and they always say like you can be right or you can be married. Mm-hmm. Like it's that idea that things need to be like. I always thought the idea, like in order to be successful as a comic, like it's hard. It's hard to be successful as a comic because the lifestyle is not something that is, it's meant for a person by themselves, you know? Mm-hmm. So the idea was that like, that's something that I've always wanted to be, but I didn't think that I would be happy necessarily.
Gotcha.
So what I'm realizing though, that also, I think my idea of what success is starting to change. And so they're starting to merge because I don't think I want to be unhappy if it means, you know, am I making?
Yeah, so you just lower your standards.
Or maybe they're just different. Yeah, I mean, maybe they're just different standards at this point for like what success is, or, but yeah.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
I've given up, and I'm trying to be happy about it, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay. So,
just on life, on everything.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of those axioms, is that word right?
All the big words.
You are missing a dictionary, right? Yeah.
We normally record during the day. Like every now and again, we have to record during the week. We normally record Sunday at noon. Everybody is like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
It's the best you're gonna be.
Yeah.
Yep, I get it.
Yeah.
So and it's like after Saturday, you know, it's like it's a great day. It's a great day. So this is like towards the end of the week, my brain has been taxed from like kids and all life stuff and like getting booked and all that shit.
I hear you.
And now I'm just like.
Still trying to use
dumb.
big words,
I'm
though.
still
Yeah.
dumb.
But you're using the big words. That's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, it's like when you think about it, like, you know, people have these big careers and then they retire and they're happy.
Yeah.
Because they get to do what they've always wanted to do.
Absolutely.
So it's that idea that things, especially in our society, how separate those things are. Mm-hmm. And I would like, I think at least in my heart, I'd like them to be one thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of those axioms are a little toxic because people, you hear something and then you try to achieve that thing without. So, for example, they'll say like if you're a champion in like boxing, they'll say like it's lonely at the top. Mm-hmm. So now this person who wants to feel like they're at the top, they also want to feel lonely. Mm-hmm. Because that's what they know to be the case for people in that position.
Right.
So they're trying to like force things that like just causes it just causes toxicity in your life because it's like not natural. You're trying to create it, like fabricate it. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In order, this is the blueprint for what it looks like, and you need to have all these components for it to be that thing.
Yeah.
And so if you don't have all those components, you're not doing it right.
Yeah, like the phrase "happy wife, happy life."
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Where it's like, whatever. I'm not gonna get into that. But that's a bad thing. It doesn't.
Because it doesn't take into account 50% of the people in the marriage.
For sure. And it fully doesn't even take into account the one person that it's supposed to be taken into account because we only need the perception of happiness. Whatever. It's just a whole thing. It's a whole thing. But now you feel like happiness and success are the same to you. Or
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think people like you get focused on the destination, right, a lot, right? And you've got to step back and be like, no, it's like these moments and the journey, like as cheesy as it, you know, like
no,
it's like this.
a 1,000,000%. Like the last couple of years have been tough, like with the pandemic and the uncertainty and small kids and like all of that stuff. And my husband is actually really good about being like when we're having family dinner and everybody's eating, which is pretty amazing with a 3 and a 6-year-old. And he's like, stop, take like a mental picture, as stupid as that sounds, but like take a mental picture. Everybody's happy. This is so nice. Like, this is lovely. Just remember this. Mm-hmm. He's also much better about taking actual pictures of things than I am. And we'll go through and I'll be like, oh, that was so nice. And he's like, yeah, I know. But like I don't take pictures of stuff, so I don't, remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's as cheesy as it is about the journey and not the destination.
Yeah. And I just have to ask you this question because it came to my mind. It may be a dumb question, but also maybe a question that people are having listening to this. But when you notice that correlation of happiness and success being more equal to each other than previously, in which direction did you notice it? Did you notice that success is happiness or happiness is success?
I'm hoping that happiness is success. Because I think ultimately it's good to be happy. I mean, people can be also like there's this people have different perceptions of what success is. So you can see someone and think they're so successful, but they could be very unhappy. So I want to get those things. I want to find a way to make those two things mutually inclusive.
We don't know that phrase. We struggle with that phrase quite a bit. This is a household issue for us.
Okay.
This is very triggering, Emily.
Okay, I'm sorry. But I want them to be one.
Gotcha.
So I'm gonna goddamn make
Yeah,
them
she has one.
Yeah, we know one.
Yeah.
I
We
was
could be one.
watching Indian Matchmaker, and this girl was like naming all the things that she has. She was like, I have a beautiful house, I have a successful job, I've got I go on hotel trips, I have clothes, I have. She's like, I have everything in the world, and like but she doesn't have a husband and a family, and it's like, and I was watching her, I was like, you don't have everything. It's like my kids are like ripping, like they're like destroying things, and
Yes.
like I'm like,
Oh,
it's
God,
such
yes.
a mess in here, but like it's like Like,
But
no.
it's my mess.
Yeah. Yes.
It's our mess. Yeah, totally.
Emily, something you might not know is that Ansley's Indian accent she just did was very close to the accent she does for her Russian friend.
Nice.
It was the same accent.
I didn't mean to do an accent.
Yeah. You also did a little Bollywood thing with your hands before you started.
I did.
Well, you gotta get in.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah. We love the Indian culture. Me personally, not the food, but I love the culture.
All right.
I love the culture. Ansley.
Yeah.
So, by the way, third eye chakra unlocked. Happiness and success are the same.
Yes.
Ansley, keep it moving.
All right, we are to the final chakra, the crown chakra.
Okay.
So it's a two-part question. So Emily, what is one thing you can't give up and why? And what would giving it up mean?
Well, I guess it all comes back to the beginning. I think I would have a very hard time giving up stand-up. I think of it as my Brokeback Mountain. I don't know how to quit it.
Whoa. Hold on. There is so much more context to that reference.
It comes back to the butt.
Yes.
It always comes back to the first chakra of the tush. It is. It's funny because I love stand-up. I've always loved stand-up. And it makes me really happy. And it's like when it goes well, generally. Mm-hmm. Even when it doesn't sometimes. But it's that one thing that I've always just gotten so much joy out of. And I have tried to find other things that make me that happy.
Yeah,
Not that my family doesn't
like a
make me...
husband and kids.
They make me happy for a long... But as far as like something that is mine. And I wish I could just knit up a scarf and feel good, but that's just not for me. So it's just, it's something that I love, and I would have a very hard time giving up.
Yeah. Sorry, Ansley, are you ever dropping rocks?
Did you drop one of your chakras?
Yeah, I did.
Dude, dropping rocks would be a funny euphemism for pooping. Yeah. You're dropping rocks? Yeah, I'm so sorry. Let me apologize for Ansley over here dropping rocks.
I apologize.
But yeah, stand up.
Yeah.
You're not able to give that up. It is your Brokeback Mountain.
It's my Brokeback. That's what I call it. Like I saw the movie and I was like, yes, that's what stand up is. It's my Brokeback Mountain. It's the best example.
And gay men are like, I think she missed the point of that movie.
Yeah.
Do you want to know what my Brokeback Mountain is?
Yeah.
Oh man.
But
Yes. Yeah. So what do you think you would be without stand up and not necessarily what would you be if you never did stand up, but if
I let it go.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel very lucky that I have other things in my life. Like I love my family. I exercise, which for me isn't really, but I mean, like I write, work on books. I do stuff like that. So it's not like my life would be like a empty void,
It
a
kind of
shell.
sounds like the rest of your life kind of revolves around stuff. Like,
Which is so funny because, like, when you look at the amount of hours that is spent doing all the things in my life, like, stand-up is not the most. It's probably children, or my job. So, but yeah, that is something that's like, that's mine, that I enjoy, that I'm proud of, that it makes me happy. I love that I can connect with people that I don't know. I mean, that to me is so amazing about stand-up, is that, like, you can just sit in, like, look at this audience, no idea what you have in common, and connect with someone in a matter of minutes, and they'll go wherever you want within reason and connect with you and make them laugh. Like, that's the best.
So if you didn't do stand-up, and this may be just me reaching here, but again, I'm trying to read between the
I would
lines.
just probably, like, really have long conversations with, like, the Amazon delivery dudes and stuff.
I was going to say, would you be a little busybody?
I think I would just, like, really engage people in the supermarket.
Yeah.
So it's good for us all.
Yeah.
I wasn't reaching at all.
No, my daughter would be like, you can just drop me off at school. You don't have to stay for an hour. You don't have to sit in on the class. It's okay. You can go, Mommy. It's fine. You don't have to stay for my play date. It's fine. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I think you'd be pretty good at being a little busybody.
Little. Always little with you. See, this is why I don't tell people how tall I really am. Because they're all like, little this and little that.
Well, honestly, we use the word little on this podcast probably too much. It's kind of a funny joke every now and again. You know, like we're doing our little podcast.
Our little podcast, right?
You know?
You like tiny, too.
That's probably the word we use most often.
Yeah.
We probably use tiny.
Yeah. I didn't think I realized it before now, but yeah.
I mean, they're much worse words to use. It's not like secretly you're using, like, some kind of, like, slur, but...
Well, we used to use it as a slur.
Oh, okay.
Where we've recently, I mean, I'll speak for myself because I don't want to throw Ansley under the tiny bus, but...
It's the short bus.
The short bus. But we used to be somewhat tiny people phobic as a unit.
You said you.
Damn it. I used to be, but it wasn't me.
Do you mean like do you mean like children, or do you mean like very small people?
Like very small people.
Okay. Like little people.
Yeah. One of us used to have a hard time trusting them.
I feel like
One of
this
us.
needs to be, let's delve into that chakra, shall we?
But we've come around. We've learned to love little people. They have big hearts. Is what we've learned.
Wasn't there a show that basically had that name? Wasn't it like Little People, Big Hearts?
Yeah.
There was?
Yeah, it's a TLC show, I think.
Yeah. We started hanging around good tiny people. We didn't have good tiny people in our lives.
Okay.
Like we had some pretty like rancid tiny people in our lives.
I just totally imagine you guys like going by a bar that like little people frequent, and they're all like out smoking tiny cigarettes in the back with like really small leather jackets, and you're like, "Can we talk to you?" And they're like, "I don't know, can you?" And then,
Oh, rude.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that was our fault for hanging out at Angry Midget Tap Room.
that was not a nice place
Yeah.
to be. Yeah, you were not welcome there.
We had some in college. We had some like some pretty. Although the one tiny person that was the good one, her name was also Emily.
Yeah.
Yeah, she wrote.
We're pretty great. No, actually, I would say Emily's are so great, but what actually is true is that there's so many of us that at least some of them have to be okay.
Yeah. Statistically, it has.
It's a very common name. Very common.
It is pretty common. Also, Emily, thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
We'll consider that a crown chakra unlocked.
All right.
Also, that was it. How do you feel?
I feel pretty good.
Yeah?
That was very enlightening.
It's fun.
Yeah.
What a fun time.
I'm now really like the success, happiness thing is really like, I'm thinking about that.
Hell yeah. We didn't even ask you if you have time to stick around for the Patreon.
Sure.
Okay. And it's
Do we dance now?
Yeah,
What do we do?
that is included in the time that I gave you, by the way. What I gave
He
you.
gave me the weirdest. How long? 95 to 105 minutes. Okay. Yeah. I was like, that is so specific.
She has kids.
I do. No, that was just like, I was doing a show, and I was like, how much time do you want me to do? And he said 18 to 24. And I was like, that's not a time that you're supposed to give, ever.
Yeah, it's pretty...
It made me really uncomfortable. I was like, that's inappropriate. You can't... I don't think I want to do this show.
Yeah. Hashtag me too. Yeah. So, remember to check out Emily on her show, September 16th, at Midnight Oil Brewing in...
Newark, Delaware. Good memory.
Thank you. I did pretty good.
That was great.
I was pretty impressed with myself. Yeah. Also, our Patreon, $1 gets you all of our exclusive content, which not only includes the counter to this podcast, which we call Two Jack Bros After Dark, where we enlighten Emily's shadow self. We didn't tell you that. Also, when we do some fight commentary and analysis on Ansley's Jiu-Jitsu matches, I'm sorry I haven't been doing that recently. And I also want to apologize. We kind of missed an upload Sunday, but I was having so many computer problems that I decided to just skip that upload and just do that the following week. So you guys all see how it worked out. I'm sorry. Thank you guys for being patient and working with us. We love you guys, and we're out.
See ya.
Bye.
Two Jack Bros. Two Jack Bros.